build my gallows and build them high. Makes a long time climbing before I die. I want the chance to spit in his eye. Oh, well, they gave me ball, but I can see between to a dusty yard and a long gone green. They call that freedom, if you know what I mean. And I dry my sorrows, but the whiskey's gone. I'm sober as good.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Longbangers. I'm Matty. This is episode 112. Joined tonight by Colin. No John tonight, but he's been replaced by Martin Boyle. Martin, thanks for coming on. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Thanks for having me on, lads.
You're better looking than John as well. I think he looks like we give him the nickname Curvy Nisbet because he looks like a chunkier Kevin Nisbet.
Come on. Nizzy takes that stuff to heart if you call him chunky.
Oh no, we're not saying Nisbet's chunky, we're saying John's chunky. He's like a fat lookalike of Kevin Nisbet. So if Kevin
That's
Nisbet
right.
I'm
calling Nizzy chunky, don't worry.
Colin, how are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Aye, I'm good. Daughter's delighted to do the after having a wee chat with Martin before we got on air. So thanks very much for that.
Brand new.
Right.
So, Martin, thanks for coming on. We're going to have a wee chat with you about your time at Hibs, how the move came about, etc. And then we'll talk about kind of what things are like at Hibs now. And a wee review of the game it was just yesterday. I was going to say on Saturday, but it's Sunday. And then talk you through some of the points that the listeners have sent into us on Twitter as well. So first of all, I suppose how close were you to joining Aberdeen, and congratulations on your new contract.
And there's the question, is it? It was a non-starter. Let's be honest. One, the club would never sell to rivals, etc. Obviously, it was very flattering on my front, being a boyhood fan, being born up there, family up there. But at the end of the day, my loyalty was to Hibs, and the contract talks were going on for a while. And yeah, it just happened to get across the line when that bid came in.
It must have helped bump your contract up a wee bit away.
I wish it came in sooner.
How do these things happen as a player? Did you get a nod for your agent, or did the club come to you and say there's a wee bit of interest, or what generally happens?
It's just the first time it's ever happened to me, to be honest. I was on my way to Asda as normal and had a phone call, just saying that there was a bid came in, but at the time I was already coming in the next day to sign my contract, and then my agent phoned me and he mentioned it as well, and it was just a few phone calls after that, and pretty much just the club's desire just to keep me, and that basically they wouldn't sell, etc. So kind of along that lines, it was kind of weird. Like I say, it was kind of flattering, but at the same time I was committed to Hibs, and I've put pen to paper.
Delighted. Didn't you started the season in great form as well? A few goals already. Team sitting unbeaten. What's behind that then?
Great question. I have no idea. I think obviously since the managers came in and came back for injury, thankfully I hit the ground running, and I think he's gave me that freedom. I always say it before, like if a new manager comes in, me coming back from injury, he might not have fancied me, if you know what I mean. Could have been completely different from myself, and luckily I managed to get back in the fold and score a goal and managed to kick on. So obviously I'm grateful for that front, and like you say, he's been fantastic for me, and probably one of the reasons that I did resign as well.
So I think back when you came to Hibs, it was a move for Dundee. I think we sent Alex Harris in the other direction. How did that come about? Again, was that like a case of just the manager coming and approaching you, or?
Yeah, it was completely strange because we had the Dundee derby a couple of days before, and he mentioned, basically just brought me in his office. I had played quite a lot of games. We were in the top 6 for Dundee, which is great. We had just got promotion, and he brought me in. He sat me down, Paul Hartley, and he was like, Hibs want to take you on loan. But I didn't know about the swap, which was weird. And he was like, just go through and ask Kevin Thompson and James McPake what Hibs is like since they were there, and basically like they were just saying that the facilities were brilliant, and it's a massive club, and probably I didn't realise how big they were until I signed, and in terms of fan base and the city and all that. And yeah, it was weird. So obviously I was on the bench for the Dundee game. I came on at half time, and we obviously got scudded that game. And then after that game, off I went. A day later, I was playing in the Edinburgh derby, which was strange. And obviously that was it. And then I found out Alex was going the other way, and it's kind of how it came about, really.
And what was your impressions of the club when you first kind of stepped in the door?
Well, obviously I went to the training centre first, and yeah, the facilities were brilliant. Took me about 3 hours to get there. I got lost, and I don't know if he's been there, but it took me a while to get there the first time going. And yeah, obviously you pitch up and you think it's just a farm, but when you go in, it's brilliant. The gym's massive. There's the change room's massive. There's loads of pitches, outdoor pitches, indoor, and it was just fantastic. And obviously, thankfully, the boys took to me, and yeah, managed to settle in quick.
And it was Stubbs that was in charge at the time.
Yeah, Stubbs was in charge. Yeah.
How did you find being in that team?
Like I say, I kind of fitted in quite well. There was a few characters there, like obviously Jason was there at the time. He was off his head, but thankfully managed to get pally with him, and obviously it was a recipe for disaster as the seasons went on. But no, it was great, and like I say, probably wasn't playing as much, but I can understand because the team was quite well considering we were in the championship and that. And yeah, thankfully, I managed to do enough to secure a deal at the end of the season.
It's a fun thing with the team being in the championship, because I think obviously none of the Hibs fans wanted to be there, but I actually thought it was quite enjoyable, like because we were winning loads obviously, and the football was good and the team was good. How did it feel playing in the championship? Did you feel that we were a better team than the league we were in?
Yeah, you could tell the players we had. Obviously, Jace was flying, and then you had players that obviously came in. David Gray, with William Craig was obviously good. With Scotty Allen was there, was fantastic. And obviously he was he player of the season that year? I'm not sure if he was. Yeah. So yeah, it was outstanding. And obviously, from my personal point of view, being in the Premiership and then coming down to the Championship, that's why I kind of questioned, like, probably not fancied at Dundee, but obviously that's when you have to look at it. If he wants to put you on loan, then he just fancy you. So it's obviously it was time for something different. And yeah, the squad we had was good, but unfortunately we also had Hearts and Rangers in the league that season, and it was quite competitive. And I think that's when the Championship really picked up. But yeah, obviously we didn't get promotion, and the playoffs were a bit disappointing. But at the same time, we thankfully managed to work our way up.
How was it dealing with disappointment? So it was obviously we had the 2 seasons where we never went up. How do you sort of bounce back for that disappointment to go again the next again season?
Well, it was different for me because obviously I was out on loan. Well, I was out on loan for the 6 months, and I was out of contract at Dundee. And then in the playoff final when we beat Falkirk 3-0, I'd done my knee, I'd done my medial, and that's probably 6 games before I'd started to get in the team and getting on a run and started scoring a few goals. And then that challenge with Tom Taylor came flying in. Probably not one you want to go on a 50-50 with.
No.
I came off second best, and we'd obviously secured second, I think it was, and we had like 18 days off, so I thought, it'll just be nothing. And then I probably realised that I needed surgery and that, and so it was a double disappointment when I had to watch the lads obviously not get promotion. And then for my story, it kind of just went on to like I had no team, so obviously there was no contract at Dundee. I was out for like 4 months, and then thankfully, like I say, and all the chat I do is that Hibs took a gamble on me, gave me a 2-year deal, which I'm very grateful. But at the same time, that's going into that season, Rangers were obviously getting a bit stronger, and you know, I think that's where the rivalry kind of started in the Championship and how it kind of went on. And yeah, it was a competitive league, and you know, I don't think people understand, like, going away to all these, you know, like these tough grounds, and it's not what Hibs are used to, if you know what I mean. Players ratting you, getting in about your face. It's because every game's like a cup final to them. So they're obviously up for it, and maybe we kind of underwhelmed it, where maybe we thought we were expected to win every game, and obviously it didn't work like that.
How frustrated is that as a player? Like, because the criticism would have come for the fans, like, about what was it like? Obviously there was the Hibs that was there, but we definitely had a reputation for a wee while for bottling games or not being able to see games over the line. When you're playing in it, and you know you're like a good team and better generally than opposition that you're playing against, how frustrating is it when the results don't go your way?
Of course, it's frustrating. I think that's where the fans probably need to get on. Like, maybe just stay with you, if you know what I mean. Just get through the bad stages of games and stuff like that. But at the same time, if I was a fan go to watch a game, I'd probably be the same, if you know what I mean. You know, you're paying to watch a team that you're probably expected to win. So yeah, look, everyone's entitled to their opinion, and just a pinch of salt to me. You know, the powers of people's opinions and social medias and all that, and you know, it's different these days compared to it was back in the day. But at the same time, like you say, you're probably expected to win these home games, and we probably were obviously better at home, bigger pitch against these lesser teams. If you say obviously majority part time as such, but obviously going away to these grounds where you're not familiar to, and people ratting in your face, and obviously long balls into the box, big boys up front and stuff like that. And yeah, it could be quite challenging. And obviously it took us a couple of seasons to get out, but thankfully we haven't looked back.
How was Stubbs as a manager?
Stubbsy was great for me. Like I say, I was out of my arse. I had nothing, had no job. Me and the missus was on holiday, answering calls every day, wondering what we were going to do. And like I say, when I received that call that they wanted to give me a 2-year deal, it was straight back on the flight back home and couldn't wait to sign. So yeah, it was obviously, he was a massive help to me, and like you say, we went on. That was the season we went on and lifted the cup. Or was it? No, it was maybe the next season. I think it was obviously the Falkirk game. No, so obviously Rangers won the league, yeah, and then the following season I think we went on to lift the cup. Well, Jesus, have I been here that long? It's scary, honestly. I'm losing track of time.
So Rangers won the league the same season that we won the cup. What was that season like? So the cup run, especially, obviously we as Hibs fans love reliving it and talking about it. And I know, you were a sub for the actual final, but the whole cup run and leading up to it, what was that like being in the club at that time? Yeah,
it's fantastic, and obviously every time you enter the Scottish Cup, you've got that. You always hear that long wait and how much it would mean to obviously lift the trophy and all that stuff. I think obviously when we went to Tiny and we were 2-0 down, it was obviously, you know, when you see all the tweets going back saying that that's it, another Scottish Cup's over and stuff like that. And obviously, thankfully, we managed to get back into the game. And yeah, we managed to overcome that deficit. And then, yeah, I think as time went on, we started to believe. And obviously the semi-final where we brought in Conrad from I have no idea where. Like you say, me and Cummy, you'll probably hear podcasts of him. We thought he was the chef coming in. We thought he was the new guy. But he was unbelievable, and just like you said, he's probably, the way he used his body and the way he was fantastic. And you know, that just the way things went for us, that cup run was just just puts icing on the cake. You scored an absolute raker, that penalty in the shootout as well. I was aiming for the bottom corner and managed to hit the bar and in. So I've mentioned that a few times. But yeah, obviously, so not playing in the final, but personally being a part of reaching it, you know, it's always going to stand out in my memories. And like I say, it goes to show the boys that did play, they all contributed, and probably me being a part of the backroom staff, just cheering the boys on, and being a part of the celebrations was brilliant. But at least I can look back and say that, I did contribute in the cup run and I've got a medal.
We had Marvin Bartley on. One of the first players that we had on for an interview on the podcast was Marvin, and he was talking because obviously he never played that day either, and he kind of talked about how he felt, that initial feeling gutted, but then making a decision to get right behind the team. How did you know, like ahead of the match day, that you weren't going to start the game, or did you find out on the day?
I think leading up to the playoffs and that the team was quite settled with the 3-5-2 that we were playing, and obviously when Falkirk beat us, I never got on either, so I kind of knew that right, well, I'm not going to start a cup final, let's be honest, but if I can do well in training, obviously be a part, then obviously you want to make the bench, and that was kind of my hopes. So yeah, because of the team was kind of settled and where we were at, it was obviously massive to obviously, like, when the team comes out, we pretty much knew what the team were going to be, but at the same time I was happy to be on the bench, and you go out there and you just enjoy it all and you get behind the team as best as you can.
And what was it like then? So the actual, from your perspective, David Gray heads in 92nd minute. What did that all look like for you? Like, talk us through your experience of it.
I really remember, because I remember if it was at Paul Hanlon that came off for Gunnarsson, I think it was, and then I got told to warm up. Or I think I got told to warm up before that, so I was like, oh Jesus, I'm going to get on in a cup final here, which was crazy. And then obviously Paul's killed me. Luckily he probably went off, because we might have lost, or somebody went off.
Down, didn't he? And that's probably was that maybe the thinking. I mean, he was down like winded or something, and that
something
might have been
like that.
You were on for the header in the last minute.
Lucky I never came on then. So yeah, obviously I get told to warm up, and then I think obviously put Gunnarsson on, and yeah, it's the way it worked out. But it was just mixed emotions. But at the same time, you had your family and all that there. It was amazing. The fans, it was just bouncing. And I remember when that header went in, I think Marv picked me up and body slammed me over the chairs, and it was just carnage. And then after that, it's just a blur. Just remember running on the pitch and then the crowd, and then that was it. Waking up 5 days later.
Was it your fault there, the pitch invasion? you triggered it?
I might have been the first one on because I'm pretty fast, but I remember running towards Conrad. I've seen Dave, and then I ran towards Conrad Logan, and then by the time I got to him, I seen all the fans coming on and skipping back. I left him, but I'm pretty sure he can handle himself. So obviously I just went back in to the Hibs crowd, the Hibs fans, and it took me about 20 minutes to actually go up and see family and that. So it was a bit surreal. Obviously, the scenes behind the game wasn't ideal. It's such a long way. Obviously, the fans are buzzing, but some of it was a bit uncalled for at the same time. But yeah, it was pretty crazy actually. So yeah.
Did you make it home that night, or were you one of the ones that got a sausage roll from Mrs. McGinn the next day for breakfast?
I was there. It was kind of escalated that night, and the 5 nights after that. So the missus wasn't happy with me, unfortunately. So I think it was lucky that I proposed to her that summer. It kind of swung it back around my way.
I think we had Barry Wilkins on. He was saying that he was trying to interview David Gray on the would have been the Sunday morning at Easter Road for the sponsors event. I think that's what David Gray said. His opening words was, "Mrs. McGinn makes the best sausage sandwich in the world."
He was absolutely hammered. He came in about 20 minutes late, and he just went straight up to the stage. He had a pint in his hand, and he was just speaking away. He was brilliant. But at the same time, like when you speak about that, we were like, oh, because they were like, oh, I've got a bus parade, but we didn't really expect it to be what it was, because we obviously hadn't achieved anything like that. So we were just thinking, right, let's just get to the boozer. We'll get on this bus. We'll get to the boozer. And then by the time we went to the city chambers, we had a few beers and we're speaking away, and then we got on the bus, and it was just madness. It was just people everywhere flinging beers, everyone with the trophy and that, with big megaphones. And honestly, I didn't realise it would be something so special as that. And probably the standout photo is probably Marv's photo, the selfie that he's got down the high street or whatever it is, and yeah, it was just crazy.
And have you had to buy a pint in Leith since then, or are you still getting them on the house?
Aye, all the time, mate. I never played, so I don't expect any pints. So we just leave that to Dave. He can get all the pints.
Then Lennon was in after Stubbs. The next again season after we won the cup, Stubbs left. Lennon came in. How did you find working under Lennon?
Yeah, it was a bit crazy at the start. Came in, he stamped his authority straight away. Obviously, he was a big name. He's achieved a lot, and we were quite lucky to get him at the time, which was great. And I think when he came in, I think the club were trying to offer me a contract, but I'm not sure. Obviously, because I didn't play under Stubbs a lot, maybe I was kind of looking to change again. And I think there was a few lower league teams in England, like Shrewsbury or something like that, or looking at me. And I think I phoned him. I was like, look, I might just go down there and give it a bash. And yeah, I think he's just like, shut the fuck up, get up here, sign your contract now, I'll play you. And I'll say that was kind of it. Up I went, signing a contract, and yeah, he was unbelievable for me. And I think that's kind of where I started to get my Hibs career in order.
I'm sure he took Cummins to the World Cup, didn't he, to meet Shearer and all that. There was a story. You should have pitched for that, Martin, and got yourself away over to the World Cup in the BBC studios.
Cubby was the main man, so he got the special treatment. He said that he was singing "Sunshine and Leaf" for Shearer and that in the players' lounge and all that stuff. So yeah, that was great. But now, look, everything that Lenny done was unbelievable, and yeah, I still speak to him to this day, which is good as well.
That's good.
You massively improved over the last few seasons. Like the first few seasons we spoke there, you see you weren't always in the team and that, but now you're like, well, probably first pick. I'm not just saying that because you're on the call here, right? But so what is it like? Who has made the biggest improvement in you, other than yourself, obviously, right? Who's had the biggest input in your improvement over the last sort of 2 seasons, 3 seasons?
I think it's obviously the managers that I've had. Obviously, Stubbsy giving me the chance, which was great. He brought me to obviously Hibs, massive team, and then I think that was up to me, obviously, to show that I could, handle it here at a big club, and obviously taking a chance and giving me a contract. And then I think it was down to obviously Lenny when he came in, and I think it was just the belief and telling me that I'd get a run of games instead of like starting 1, missing 3, stuff like that. And basically he was just wanting a bit of consistency out of me. And I feel like, yeah, that happened. Obviously, I think it was different because we were in the championship where we were playing. So Jason dropped out a wee bit and I was playing up front with Holty and playing out wide. So I think that's where kind of the versatility came into it as well. And as soon as we went up to the Premiership, I think that's kind of where we had the 3-5-2 system, and I started to play regularly and week in, week out, and yeah, it was fantastic. So a lot goes down to him. I think because he put so much trust into you, and you just didn't want to let him down, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And you didn't want to anger the man, so you didn't want to get in his bad side. But he was great. He was great with everyone, and yeah, I think a lot goes to that man as well.
Sure, we had Lewis on. He said he's had like a scale of 1 to Lennon, depending on what type of mood he was in. if he was going to go Raj or no. There's the famous time when Lennon kind of kicked off. So we played. Was it Wraith? I think we played Wraith, and then had the derby after it. Yeah. And Lennon absolutely slaughtered the team. After the Wraith game, I don't feel like we got beat. I think it might have been a draw.
I think we did draw. I think was that the cutback to Jason, and he was on the line and he hit the bar.
Aye,
I think it was that. But I remember he came in and he went crazy at us, and then he obviously told us to get on the bus, and he was obviously going to do his thing. And the radio was on in the bus, so we were obviously listening to him hammer us on the radio, and then we were like, "Wow, like he's obviously not happy." But obviously he came out and rightly so he publicly criticised us, and he got the reaction that he was after, and but he was always one for that. Like when we were doing great, everyone was fantastic. But when we underachieved or we didn't do as well as we did, then obviously he'd come out and deservedly so he'd hammer us.
And then, and then we won the derby right after that as well. So it kind of paid off as well. I can't remember. Did you play in that?
That was the one. Was that 3-1 one?
3-1.
3-1.
Aye. Because we could have won by. We could have won by. I'm sure you did play that game. Actually, we could have won by any number that night. It's like we scored early. It just looked like we were going to run. Aye, run. Shinnie scored that night as well, didn't he?
Aye.
Holtley as well. Yeah.
Because he did the big incredible hold, didn't he? After it.
No, obviously, like he got the reaction he was after, and obviously it worked. So fair play, which was great. And yeah, obviously went into the derby and we had a point to prove, and thankfully we won.
Yeah, was that the night where it was Sunshine on Leith after it? There's loads of kind of video footage of the players kind of taking a wee lap on or around.
It was brilliant. I think that was the first time I heard it in a while, which was great. Obviously it was a midweek game under the lights, and yeah, I think everyone was involved, and yeah, it was brilliant.
Well, obviously you've had a derby where you scored kind of both the goals at Tiny. What are your derby highlights, Martin?
Well, obviously the 3-1 game was a lot. Being on the bench for the 2-2, that was a good game. Obviously not playing, but being a part of was good. And obviously winning the replay. I think I got 20 minutes in that Scottish Cup as well, which was good. And yeah, probably obviously personally the best one for me was the one at Tiny, Boxing Day, full crowd. It was it was brilliant, and one that I'll always remember.
It's a great shot of you scoring, wheeling away after scoring the first one where Scotty's lobbed the ball over, and you're running towards the main stand, and it looks like they're all saying some very nice things to you.
I think I put that on my Insta. There's a few gestures in there, but yeah, it's the emotions get better when you score in those types of games, and yeah, thankfully I've done it.
Good. Well, obviously we've had Heckingbottom, and so that was like the most successful time, and then Jack Ross came in. So how have you found life under Jack Ross?
Yeah, Jack Ross has been brilliant. Like I say, probably the main reason I've signed. His assistant Potsy and Craig Sampson, they're all brilliant, and they've been great with me. The trust that we have, and obviously he's played me regularly, and he's obviously got the best out of me in terms of scoring and assists, which is fantastic, and it's just a recipe that works at the moment. So yeah, I think it's just the trust he gives me in the park, a bit of freedom, and obviously he knows that I'm quite versatile, where he can play me kind of anywhere along that front line, and probably wing back at times as well. So look, it's great, and like I say, it seems to be working at the moment, and I'm playing obviously well. Hopefully it can continue. Obviously you mentioned Hecky as well, which is it was obviously a shame, because obviously I was injured and I hadn't played under them, which was a shame, because for me personally, he had a great plan for the club, and all that sorts. So obviously it was quite disappointing when it didn't work out, but that's just the way it works out, and obviously the gaffers came in, and we've managed to kick on again.
Never heard anybody say a bad word about Heckingbottom. Like his whole time there, like anybody who worked with him sings his praises. Like it's funny how things sometimes didn't pan out. What would you say is different? Like, so if you look at the Rick Hibs now, because when you joined, Ron Gordon hadn't taken over. So it's from the outside, it looks like a very different club from the one that you would have come into. What do you think are like the key differences now from a player's point of view?
I wouldn't say there's much difference. Obviously, the recruiting's probably a bit different. I think the main thing that we have been doing well is that we've got a good core. You know what I mean? There's been players that have been there for a long time, and we've had a great squad. Over the whatever years I've been there, 6-7 years, I can't say that there's been one bad egg that's came in, and it's kind of caused a little bit of drama in the dressing room. It's just everyone that's came into the dressing room and everyone that's left have probably said that it's been a fantastic dressing room to be a part of, and I think that's probably part of the success that we've built on, that we're such a tight unit. And obviously Ron coming in and having his own ideas and stuff like that he's just working away behind the scenes, and we're just getting on with things. Pops his head in now and again when need be, and that's it. It's just for players, we just get on with it, and what happens behind the scenes, and it's nothing to do with us. We just stick to playing football. That's what we get paid for.
What was like? You got a wee bit of criticism from Yogi after he joined Ross County. He kind of chucked in the diving label at you. How did that time feel for you? Because like there was a few decisions went against you sort of immediately after that, where I think if maybe those comments hadn't been made, referees might have looked at different incidences a wee bit more favourably for you. How does it feel when a manager sort of says that kind of thing about you?
Yeah, it was obviously different. Probably going into that game, I was probably the most foul player in the league. And then obviously when his comments coming out like that, maybe referees have meetings and maybe keep an extra eye, and is he diving, is he not? I mean, I weigh about 65 kg and I've got big boys clashing into me. I mean, I'm running at quite high speed. One little blow and I'm going to obviously go over, or if you get caught off balance, it's completely different, the way that you move with the ball and stuff like that. And obviously when that happened, and obviously decisions of kind of getting booked and that, it's different. But at the same time, if referees are listening to stuff like that, then what is it going to take for me to get in a serious injury? Is the protection gone, if you know what I mean? And stuff like that. But at the same time, it's going to be at the back of my head. I mean, I just play my normal game like I always have. I just brushed it off and just keep doing what I'm doing. But yeah, Yogi's quite outspoken, and he always has been, which is obviously it's his personal opinion. And obviously he got beat that day, so obviously he was angry, and that penalty was a turning point. So he's obviously came for me. But like you say, I've never met him, but I'm sure he's a great guy.
We were wondering about this because he was back in the Hibs TV. I can't remember what game it was. We were like, I wonder if he's said to you, sorry about that. But obviously, if you've never met him, then, and I didn't imagine he's the sort of guy you'd want to go and pick a fight with, like I would.
Nah, I wouldn't. I'd need about 10 big dazzes behind me. I pick my fights wisely.
See, last season, Martin, finished third, right? Best league season in how many years, Colin? Was it 16, something like that? 16 years, did say?
Aye, something like that, yeah. 2004 or something, wasn't it?
Third place, cup semi-final. We actually played 2 semi-finals in the season because we had the one for the season before and a cup final. So obviously the cup final sort of tainted things for a lot of folk. Inside the club, did you look at that as a successful season or a disappointing season?
I think you split it two ways. Obviously, league very successful. Obviously, hard to split the Old Firm or be atop of them, but obviously the calibre that they have. So obviously challenge Aberdeen and that for third was massive, and that was our goals at the start of the season. To obviously push for third and get Europa League. So yeah, we achieved that, and that's what we wanted from the start of the season. And obviously on the list we had obviously win a cup, where we obviously pride ourselves on. We get decent cup runs, which we did, and obviously, yeah, it was disappointing. Where you'd probably think everyone would believe that we would have won the two with the Old Firm being out, and maybe put us favourites. So yeah, it was disappointing. Obviously, the Hearts game. Unfortunately, Kevin misses a penalty, turning point. They go up, we get a penalty, so that changes on its head. Craig Gordon was in goals, had a fantastic game. He's a great goalie. And then you go into the semi-final where we obviously didn't show up. I didn't say we played as bad as the Scottish Cup final. I think we just never took our chances. And I think at the end of the season, out of all the games we played for the season, we just decided to show up and play our worst game of the season, which was not ideal. In such a calibre game and the magnitude where we believed that obviously we were going to obviously go on and win the cup, but we had a good chance. And not just me, but everyone, I think, would probably say the same, that we just didn't show up, and for our standards, it wasn't good enough.
See, during a game like that, can you? So right, when we were watching it, right, so as fans, you get frustrated. You can see quite early on. So I think we had a couple of games in that season, Ross County at home, Livingston at home, sort of around New Year time, where very similar type of performance, just like nothing was working for us. And then the cup final was probably the next time after those two games where we had a performance like that. When you're in the middle of a game, can you sense it? Like, do you know, shite, this isn't going our way, or do you know, like, are you aware of it, or
No,
does it
'cause
just kind of pass you by?
I think it kind of just passes. Well, personally, me, everyone could be different. You know what I mean? They've got different attitudes and stuff like that. So for me, I'm always trying to get on the ball, and sometimes in my position where it's kind of, I think teams kind of notice where the danger's coming from, and then maybe 2 people on you, 3 people on you. So it's obviously it's harder for me to get on the ball, and then I find myself maybe floating about in different positions, running about like a little headless chicken at sometimes. And yeah, I think maybe that's where we were really lacking last year. Of maybe we're a bit dependable on trying to get the ball out to me to create chances into strikers. And now we have this season where we've got Kyle coming in, we've got a fully fit Jamie Murphy, so obviously 2 out wingers that can maybe take the heat off, and maybe just playing down my side. But I'm not just saying that it's a one-man team and all that, but obviously it just, if you're looking at it in my point of view, but at the same time, I think it did kind of pass us by, where we expected to win home games against Livingston and Ross Counties, and we just didn't turn up, and we deserved to get beat.
We'll talk about the Dundee game from yesterday just a wee minute, but it was one of the observations that we started. I thought we started yesterday like that, and I was fully expecting the whole game to go that way. But as maybe a sense, it shows you how much the team have improved, that we actually kind of played our way back into that game, and it was a totally different performance in the end. After the cup final, quite a lot of criticism. I mean, I know, and don't take this the wrong way, Martin, we hammered everybody. Like, after, when we were doing the podcast after the cup final, we had a right old moan about it, and we did call you out for your late dive on that one as well. But I think that post that, so we try to just kind of vent, like we'll do something like that, and then we move on quite quick. We tend to be quite positive on the podcast about the team. The reaction on social media after it for fucking ages was really negative, and there's still players now get hammered for the cup final. As soon as something goes wrong, folk will drag up a photo of somebody or mention the cup final. You're obviously on Twitter. That's how we kind of connected for this. How do you switch off from it yourself to not get kind of beaten down by that kind of stuff?
Like I say, going back, that is the powers of social media these days. That is the way it is. You either choose to have it, you choose not to have it. If you don't have it, then you don't need to worry about any of that stuff. Obviously, you're aware of what's been said and that, but rightly so. We didn't show up in the day, and fans are entitled to their opinion. They pay money, they paid season tickets, they paid to watch the game or whatever they did, and rightly so. Maybe to a certain degree, some comments can be a bit over the top, but at the same time, us as players, we either take it on the chin or just let it blow over you. We knew coming into the new season where all wasn't going to be forgiven. We had to gain the trust back, start strongly, and build our way back. And hopefully this season we can obviously do one better and have a strong league position and hopefully go on and win the cup.
Fingers crossed. What do you think of the signings we've made for this season? Think we're looking in good shape?
Yeah, obviously they've been great. Jake's came in, he's been fantastic. He's a great ball player. The games that he's came in and played, his ball retention and linking up with Joe, and obviously having a fully fit Kyle back, you can obviously see in our early career that he's obviously taken off this season. He's scoring goals, he gets into positions, and he gets about. And so having Murphy back, like another new signing, and it's great. And I'm sure Scotty will come in, and I'm sure when he gets his first goal, he'll be banging them in as well. Obviously, it's a bit disappointing we've lost Christian. He had obviously come off making an impact, and he's obviously done quite well. So we're going to be behind him and wish him a speedy recovery. And I feel like we've started the season well, and everyone's optimistic.
Have you seen much of Chris Mueller, who's coming in?
I haven't seen much. I think I watched a 7-minute YouTube clip of him and followed him on Instagram, but I think that's about it.
That's it. No read his book yet.
I've not read his book yet. No, unless he comes in and brings a few books out to hand out, then I might read it. I mean, I've never read a book in my life, but I can't imagine.
We got the audio book. We'll get somebody to do it to
you. We were saying that it'd be good if he turned up first day, just dish it. There you go, boys. Dish the books.
It's one way to sell it. Get everyone to turn up on Instagram and Twitter.
It's got good reviews on Amazon. How do we look at it? I've not read it myself yet, but it looks like it's no bad. The game yesterday then, so Colin, I'll come to you. You've not really said too much yet. What were your thoughts on the game yesterday, Colin?
I was all right about it. I thought we'd done all right in the middle sort of 60 minutes. Started slowly, and then the last 10 fell out the game a bit, maybe, or they came onto the game. I thought the middle 60 was all right, and then after the game, watched the game, and then after that I switched on like the message boards and that, and I'm like, fucking hell, everybody's going mental. But I thought a draw up there's no bad, considering we're missing, I don't know, 4 or 5 starters, and Hanlon, Newell, Doige, Nisbet, they're all out, and McKinn's ill. I don't know how many other guys were ill yesterday, Martin, but obviously McGinn went off ill, and Doig looked a bit off the boil yesterday. I don't know if he was or not, but I thought it was a no bad result in the end, really, all things considered. But I thought we'd done all right. Had plenty of chances. Goalie made a few good saves. He's been a good signing for my point of view. I quite like to look at Scott up front. If that header had nicked in at the back post, that would have been a great start for him. But I thought he looked all right, considering he's not played for, I don't know, I can't remember how long they said in the TV, but it was a wee while he's not played. So I thought that all looked good. But I wasn't as disappointed as quite a lot of folks seem to be last night. But
what was there a few? I saw it online today, Martin. That the story was that there was a few players sick before the game. Was there a wee bug going around or something?
As far as I'm aware, yeah, obviously Doige and Paul were obviously sick before the game, but it was unknown to me before the game, and obviously half time was obviously catching up on them. You know what it's like, obviously try to do physical activity when you're feeling not well. It's obviously fair play for them.
Look at the neck of me, Martin. I don't care what that's like.
I don't know. Obviously, it's probably playing like a hangover or something. I know that I'm saying they're a hangover, but fair play to them. Look, if they've obviously kept it quiet, and then they've obviously got to half time, and they've mentioned it that they were sick and that, it's obviously not ideal as a team for us. It's obviously 2 players that play every week, and 2 fullbacks as well that will obviously be a big miss. So yeah, that's obviously, to my knowledge, after the game there was a little bit of a bug going about. But like you say, I think if you're looking at the game, there was probably no excuse for us to drop points. I think we're not going to dominate every game. We know we need to ride the wave, and I felt like we did that probably first half. Matty's obviously made a few great saves. We've got back into the game. We've got in a half time, and I feel like the second half, minus the goal, we probably dominated, created a lot of chances. And obviously, I think we know ourselves that we should have been more clinical up front, and that's probably the way it was. And obviously, it was poor defending from us to concede that goal where he slipped in and scored. But at the same time, I think it was a perfect opportunity for us to get 3 wins out of 3, and we've not done it. I think obviously results going our way, you can obviously say we're still top of the league. I think that'll probably be a mood swinger for a few of the fans. But yeah, we obviously know that we weren't as clinical as we should have been, and I think it was 2 points dropped. Well, it was 2 points dropped, should I say?
Aye, they definitely was. There was a bit of chat So we do like a post-match kind of reaction show where we get folk to join us on a Zoom call, and everybody's kind of talks about what they thought about the game. And one of the big talking points was whether Scott Allen could have played. We had two holding midfielders, Gogic and Doyle Hayes. Whether there was room for Scott Allen. So obviously, Martin, you'll not be in a position to kind of question what the manager does. But was that set, or was there a reason that was part of the game plan?
I think if you look at it, Goga's probably played majority of every game last season, so he's probably a no-brainer to come in. Obviously Scotty's not played as much as probably he would have liked to have, and he's obviously not been obviously with everything that's been going on with him and behind the scenes and stuff like that, he's obviously probably making his way back in it, and I'm sure he would have loved to have came on, but I'm not the manager. I don't make the subs at the end of the day. Going back, we had more chances to win the game, so you could look at it that way as well. Like you say, I think we probably didn't move the ball as much as we would like to have. Probably a bit slow in possession. But yeah, I don't obviously the chances that we missed were not great, and so we dropped 2 points, which was disappointing. And I think obviously seeing a few things about Goga, obviously myself personally, I think it's a bit unfair. Obviously fans have their opinions, but going back to last season, I thought he was fantastic for us. And obviously, I'm not saying it's easy to forget, but he was fantastic for us, and obviously he's came in short notice, but he's a top player for us, and he's been outstanding. And along with everyone else, it probably didn't work out as smoothly as we wanted it to. So yeah, it was probably a bit unfair criticism.
You mentioned we rode the wave in the first half, so we get the penalty to get back into the game. Colin, think penalty's right decision?
You know what? I don't know what the rule is, right? Because they're saying it was started outside the box. I thought the rule was so it's not. They're saying on TV it's not because it started outside the box. I thought it was if it continues into the box. In the box.
Aye.
So I'm not sure. So I thought the one on Gullen at the end was more a penalty than the Murphy one, though. The one at the end when the boy came through the back of him late on. So I'm not sure. Because I don't know the rules. I don't know enough about the rule on that one.
Right,
is it inside the box, outside? That's the level we've got on.
This is what folks you're in for.
Well, I bet. Do you know the rule, Martin?
I have no idea. I'm just there to take the penalty. I was just delighted there was a penalty. I'm there to take it. Thankfully scored. I don't know the rules either. Like you say, there's so many rules these days. We just got to get on with it, I'm afraid.
Because the foul was definitely outside the box, but he fell in the box, so that's it. I don't know. But it was a foul.
Personally would hate to be a referee, in my opinion. I mean, some of the emotions and stuff that they have to go through, the abuse and all that, it's just crazy.
My son referees he's just turned 18, and I give him loads of abuse, so it's a hard life for them.
I mean, I shouted them on the pitch as well, but like you said, they flagged me off, so it's
They didn't help themselves though. They didn't help themselves. You know what? There was one yesterday. I text Matthew yesterday. So last week in the who was in the cup Kilmarnock game, Kyle McGuinness was running through and he called it back because the boy pulled his hamstring. Bobby Madden stopped the game because of that. Gave the ball back to the Kilmarnock goalie. I was watching the Hearts Aberdeen game yesterday, and the boy McLennan done the exact same. Went down with his hamstring, and they just played on. Same referee, same injury. Guy went off injured and everything, and you've just changed the rules week on week. So how can you can't give them credit when they just start chopping and changing it and go, just my opinion, that's my interpretation of the rule. So I'm not giving them any credit.
I'm the world's worst for slaughtering referees. Even when I can I'm wrong, I'll still have a go at it. Sometimes I'll shout. You see players doing it, claiming for a ball. When they can't find well, they kick the hand still goes up, it's their ball. The amount of times I'll shout something like, he's offside, and they'll sit down and look at my son and say, he was miles on. I just like having a wee shout at them, won't I?
I think the referees are great, just to get them back on my side. They're all fantastic.
Top guys.
Great. Love to go for that pint with them.
The referee for the Santa Coloma game, what did you make of him? Like, he'll not be listening to us, I'm sure, so you can probably say what you like about him. We didn't have a big audience in Andorra, I didn't think. So he was wild,
It was different. I think someone said to me that it was the same referee that sent off Lenny. I think our first European game back or something like that. I think it was the same referee that sent him
Was
off.
it?
Wild rumours. I don't know if they're real or not, but I think it was. And then it was obviously mentioned for the game, and obviously the game just turned into absolute riots. It was just madness.
What was it like playing in that game? You know, when you see a game like that where it's, I mean, from the stands, you can see how it's going. The referee totally lost control. Are you worried that you're going to get a dull one, or do you see it as an opportunity to give somebody a dull one?
Me personally, I try not to get injured. Try not. Obviously, been on the end of some fouls, and thankfully, I managed to just get up and get on with it, which is obviously what I've always done. And I'm obviously on the receiving end of some bad ones, and it's not to me to send them off. But you know, I think that game there was one shocker. I think it was unexcusable. He had to go, the boy, and that's where you go back to like the protection of players. It's just mental. I mean, he's came flying in, and the ball's completely away from him. And like you say, I don't know the rules. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Do I need to get a leg break for a bit of protection? I don't know. But yeah, I think that night was it'll be up there with all the carnage that was going on.
We talk about it quite a lot in the podcast, man. One of the things that we noticed, there are some teams who sort of take turns to kick you. Do you know, like it'll not just be the fullback, it'll be a midfielder will have a go, and then they'll wait to see how many they can get away with before somebody gets a yellow card, and then they'll just change who does it again.
Might be the perfect example, just let them know you're there early and everyone just comes over to have a shot. But yeah, if they're trying to take me out, I'll take it as a compliment. Obviously worried about the threats, but at the same time, it'd be different if I just started karate chopping people with it.
Just have a game like that. You know, a game where we're getting tanned anyway. Just start taking bodies.
No, my first slide tackle will probably be a red card. Touch wood.
But we'll go to some of the talking points. This is what I said. So we always, after the game, we'll put out a wee tweet to say folks send us in the talking points. We generally just read everyone that we get, right? So we'll go through them all. We didn't filter them out. And there was a temptation to kind of just filter out some of the more controversial ones, but I thought it's good to get, it goes back to what we're saying about, you know, seeing social media and things like that, people being accountable for what they say. So we'll go through, there's only a handful in here, go through the talking points and get your views on them. So the first one came from Pablo, who asked, should Gogic play for Hibs again? Colin?
Aye, why not? Like, just you can have a bad game every now and again. You know what I mean? It's as Martin said there. He played about 90% of the matches last season. Everybody was raving about him at points last season. You don't become a bad player over a course of what, 3 games, 3 league games. They've been playing one of them. So you know, it's 2 games in the league this season that people are saying he never played as well as he did last season. You can't write him off already. That's my thoughts on it.
Martin, is he better with the shaved head or with a wee bit of growth on the top?
I'm just jealous that he's actually got hair and he shaves it. If I'm honest with you, it's just astonishing. I think he's just taking the piss out of baldy people.
Did he speak to Paul McGowan yesterday by any chance about his hairdo? We were sitting in the house. We were sitting in the house yesterday. We all went, "Fucking hell, just shave off."
He's just a great guy. He's a lunatic, but he's a great. I played with him at Dundee. Honestly, he's just the angriest guy in football. But
Alan McGregor's the angriest guy in football. Alan McGregor by a country mile is the angriest guy.
I hate him for scoring, but he's a top drawer character.
Big G official said can't keep missing sitters if we want to finish third or better. So we did miss a few sitters last season and still finished third.
Yep.
But what's it like, Martin, when you have a game and you've missed a chance and you think, oh, fucking hell, I probably should have scored that. Do you beat yourself up about it, or are you able to move past that quite quickly?
You obviously know at the time where, yeah, you should probably score. But you as a player cannot let that affect you in the game, if you know what I mean. Some players might miss that and go hiding. Whether you just, me, I'd obviously try getting the ball as quick as I can after that and try and make something happen. obviously it's not ideal missing a goal scoring chance, but because we were well on top and we probably could that would have killed the game. Obviously, if Jamie scored, but at the same time, the one before that, a bit of composure. Maybe should have took a touch instead of smacking it with my left foot over the bar. Maybe should have had a bit of composure, take a touch and score myself. But at the same time, as I've stated, we know as players that we need to be more clinical. We know it's a massive 2 points, because we could have went 3 out of 3. But at the same time, I don't think that will define our season. That we're still in a good position after 3 games.
What's your worst miss? Have you got one that stands out? Like strikers always miss easy chances. From time to time, you have one. You ever had one that you've thought, oh fucking hell, that's going to be on videos for years? This one.
Luckily, it's not been on videos for years because I don't think it's came up again. But it might if anybody's listening to this. I remember when I first signed for Hibs. I think it was a couple of games in. We played Falkirk. I think it was like 4-3 or 3-3. Snowing and that, and I went through, rounded the goalie, and I've shanked it wide of the post. Like, just really, really bad miss. Now that you mention it, it does stand out in my head, which is bad. But like these things happen, and
I didn't do that. Just put that back to the back of the mind again.
Well, you offset it with the screamer against Livingston, I suppose. That's the way I would look at it. Is you've got like a world that you've got one in that column and then a world in that one where you've pinged one in.
I was in the famous 5 that night, coming right towards me.
You're probably going to miss more sitters than that volley against. Like, you're going to miss more sitters than do what I done against Livingston. Let's be honest. Like, me personally looking at it, like, never going to consistently smack a volley like that. Maybe never again. I'd like to, but you obviously miss more chances and I'll score a goal like that.
Goes down as one of the best goals I've seen live at Easter. I've seen some good ones, but we were right. Well, you're saying, you're in the famous 5, so you would have got the behind the goal view for it. And I'm in the West upper at that end. And as soon as it left your foot, it's like, fucking hell. What I wanted to know is, see, when you hit a ball like that, do you say, a fucker? Like, you're like, fucko or something when you boot it? Because when I used to look, when you play football when you're away, if you scalp the ball, sometimes that's what you would say. Or do you not say anything when you strike a ball like that?
Sometimes in training, I'll smack it. Like, I just shout something stupid. But I think because I'd been dropped for that game and I scored. I think I scored the previous week against Alloa and I was still on the bench. And obviously, coming off the bench, I think I was a bit pissed off. And then as soon as it dropped to me, and I think I was just thinking in my head, this is just getting wellied. 9 times out of 10, they go into Rose Ed. Thankfully, it didn't, and it went in. And thankfully for me, I was on the bench the next game as well.
Done wonders.
So, what was the point?
Oh well. So, I got goal this season, so that could stand out as well.
Well worth it. Charlie's, this is Colin's brother-in-law, just for context, Charlie's tweeted and said, too many players off the pace today, but still should have won it. 2 gilt-edged chances for Murphy and Gogic to wrap it up. Still can't defend balls into the box, even though the throw-in was never a Dundee one. So I can't remember the ball going out. I was listening on the radio at this point. I was watching the game.
Stevenson put a tackle in and it came off. It was our ball, but and they took it quickly. So I think we were thinking, it's our ball. They took it and got us off guard a wee bit. But that was definitely our throw-in. But it's one of them. You still need to be switched on in that to defend it. And it was a weird one, because it was like it was Gogic and Doig that were tracking the boy. It was like the McGowan even had to jump to header it. It was a real weird sort of like wee low ball into the box. The defence were away out and he was close in to just nudge it in. But it was a bit disappointing goal to lose. But
has it been talked about the amount of goals we've conceded for crosses this season, Matt?
Yeah, it's obviously something that we look back and we analyse. Also, I think there was a stat last season where we didn't concede a header in the whole league last year.
That's right, yeah.
So obviously this season we've obviously conceded a few, which is not great. But at the same time, where the defence starts from the front, either we're not doing enough to press people, and like you say, part of that criticism that goal yesterday is probably me complaining at the ref, and I've switched off and the balls came in quick. I've not got to him quick enough, and he's put the ball in the box. So mean, part of the blame's probably not as much as Gaga losing his man. It's probably me not stopping the cross. So I'm putting my hands up on part of the blame as well. But yeah, also something that we'll identify and we'll obviously try stop.
Grant Gilbertson says promote the young team. So I think we did quite well. We promoted the young players in the team the now. Who's coming through just now, Martin, that you think we should keep an eye out on?
Obviously, young Stevie Bradley's came through. He got his first taste. Well, he got his first taste last season against Hamilton when he came on, he hit the bar. He obviously didn't feature a lot. I think because it was coming down to the wire for third, and probably if we had it secured a little bit earlier, he might got a run of games. But yeah, he was shining in pre-season. He played the Arsenal game where I thought he was terrific. Playing in front of a crowd, which got to see what he could do. He obviously was unfortunate when he had the post, and I thought he was brilliant. Obviously, Josh Campbell played a few of the Europa League games. Thought he was outstanding as well. Technically right and left footed, which is gifted. So yeah, obviously they two are coming through nicely at the moment, and obviously I can't imagine them knocking on the door asking to be playing. But I think if they keep their heads down and keep working hard, then I'm sure it'll be a matter of time where, look, young boys coming through and making an impact is big at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Basher said our defence, or lack of it, we could arguably benefit from signing a player in every position in that backline. Colin, what's your thoughts there?
We're going to cover this. We covered this last week, really, but we've got cover it, so we've got injuries. That's why we're looking bare, isn't it? You can't just keep buying and buying and buying when we get Cadden back, which hopefully will be soon. I'm not sure. Do you know how long it is till Chris Cadden's due back, Martin? No.
That's telling.
So an exclusive there. No, but he looked excellent last season at points. So there's cover there right away. And then obviously I think centre back we're definitely at least one short there. Especially with Hanlon being out for, well, I assume he'll be back soon. And we've got two left backs. So I don't, how many players can you have in a squad? Really, you know what I mean? It's just injuries. It's creating that conversation. It's not what's in the squad now that's doing that. So,
aye.
So I think the answer was no. I can't remember what the question was, but I'm going with no.
You say that could we benefit from a player in every position in the back line? It's one of those ones, like you could say that about every position. Like, could you benefit for an extra player in every position? Aye, you probably could, but is that realistic or whatever?
Can you afford that? Yeah.
Aye, Martin, if you were Jack Ross and you were to pick one position that you wanted to absolutely strengthen, which one do you think would you prioritise in the team now?
A right winger.
I was thinking, that's what I was going to say.
It's a diplomatic answer there. Well done. Big Dale said, as soon as Murphy missed the sitter, I think every Hibs fan was resigned to what was coming. See, with that, I was convinced we were going to win. I said it 1-0 down yesterday when we started getting back into the game. Put in our group chat, I said, we're winning this one. I honestly thought we were going to. And even when we missed the chances, I still didn't think we were not going to win the game. So I thought it was a wee bit of a surprise. TG, or did you think, Martin, at any point, you know, when you have a game like that where you miss good chances, do you think we're going to get sucker punched here?
No, I think it was one of those games where we did feel comfortable at the second half, and we went in the lead and we had more chances after that, and I felt like we would get more chances. But at the same time, if we are wasting those chances and we're away from home, it's not like we're not going to be put under pressure, if you know what I mean. Yeah. I mean, it's not just going to be plain sailing. There is obviously going to be balls put in the box, and we obviously didn't deal with it as best as we could, and we've conceded. And like you say, it just goes back to where we wasn't clinical enough, and we dropped 2 points.
TG Willis said Hibs still on top on goal difference at least. Pleased, given a lot of key players were out and Gogic and Doig were well under par. I thought Scott looked useful and Stevenson did well right back. Martin, you're playing that side when you see Lewis coming on. So we've got a lot of love for Lewis on the podcast. When you see him coming right back, do you think, right, it's not his natural side, I need to do a bit more here, or is he the sort of player you could just trust to get on with?
Just get on with it. You know, Steve Boy's just a wee veteran now, is he? He'll give 100%. You know what he's like, and I'd be comfortable playing him centre back. I'm pretty sure we done it 3 seasons ago at Ibrox and we won. So like he gives everything for the club, and he's a brilliant professional, and I'd no doubt that he'd come in and do well there.
That was a mental game, that one. I mean, it was Porteous made his debut, and then we had
Porteous made his debut.
Lewis at centre half. I remember seeing the team lineup for that one. Going, oh fuck! No,
I think we had McGinn left wing back at one point. McGinn wing backs. It was just carnage that game.
Barker played. He no go off after about 10 minutes as well. Barker went off. He obviously didn't fancy that game. And then we got the win. Superb. That was one of our best Ibrox ones. I think that was probably the least expected one after since Colin Calderwood won 3-0 there with Hibs, because Colin Calderwood was fucking dreadful at Hibs, but he still managed a 3-0 win at Ibrox. Ricky said Petrie out, so go back in time. Andrew McBee, so Macy should have come for the cross for the second question mark, and he later followed that up and said he'd watched it on Sportscene and changed his mind, and he thought Macy played really well. Martin, we had obviously a brilliant goalkeeper last season with Rocky. Macy's come in and done well so far. How do you find the comparison between the two?
Two top goalies. Fear was here for a long time, and he was one of the fans' favourites. He was brilliant. He made some outstanding saves, and he obviously thought it was time to move on, and he's landed a really good move. And obviously Matt coming in from Arsenal. Not like they're not a bad team, if you know what I mean. He's obviously came in. He's got the caliber, and he's signed a deal here, and he's number one. And like I say, some of the saves yesterday were outstanding. For me, being behind the one from Charlie Adam going in the top corner, I thought it was brilliant. His reactions were good, and I'm not a goalie coach. I can't tell you if he can come for that or not. I have no idea. I do not speak to goalies. Not my interest. They're a different breed, if you ask me. They're just like scoring against them. But like, I have no idea. He probably kept us in the game. Some saves in that first half. So can't expect him to do everything.
Colin, what do you think, Mason? How you assessed his time so far?
He makes good saves. So I can't see why he's not made any obvious mistakes that I notice. I mean, I'm like Martin in that. Like I don't class a goalkeeper as a footballer. A goalie's a goalie, and the other 10 are the football players. I've not noticed him making a mistake, and he's made some good saves. He saved a penalty. So. Or penalties and the shootout as well. So I've got no complaints about him. I know there's a bit of doubt on Martin on the message boards and that I was reading the day, and you're like, well, it's almost like people waiting for when he does make a mistake. They can say, I knew it. There was something about him. Can't quite put my finger on it. You know what I mean? And he's not made any mistakes. He's kept us in games and made good saves, and just enjoy it while it lasts. Like didn't hang on waiting to hammer him when a mistake comes, because it will come at some point. So
I think he's been good there. I really rate him.
That's the power of football, though, if you know what I mean. Like, you could be the best player in the world one game. So in terms of go away, score Tynecastle, score 2 goals, and then you go away to Livingston a couple of days later and you get beat, you could be the worst player in the world. It's just that's just the way it works. From a high to a low, it's just madness. It's just football, but at the same time, I keep going back. They pay the money, they're entitled to their opinion, and we just get on with it.
Right, we've only got a few more. Lamac said it was his first league away game since with Hibs since he can't remember. Maybe Ibrox in the 2000-2001 season. He felt we should have won the game. We had the quality, but can't finish. Need to remember to pass more and not be fit. Look better when patient and composed. Fair enough. Graham Whiteman, Hugo Martin, this one for you. Murphy and Boyle need to work on their composure in front of goal. James Scott had a decent debut. You need to work on our combination of centre halves to defend cross balls. Need to work with Macy to come for cross balls. He's a big lad, but is rooted to his line. Do you spend much time working on your finishing and training?
Yeah, obviously it's me personally. I've came a long way from obviously scoring a lot more goals than what I did. I think a couple of seasons ago, I never have scored as much as I would have. And obviously, as attackers, you take pride in scoring goals, and obviously you want the work to be better. And yeah, you spot on. Like I probably said earlier on, that where I should have scored before that Murphy chant to put the game in bed with a little bit of composure. I think I mentioned it, and obviously maybe having the awareness I've had a little bit more time than what I did instead of lashing at the ball. And so yeah, it's obviously something that we always work on, shooting after training, and not everyone's going to go in as much as we would like it to.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we know that we need to be putting them chances away.
Do you ever see if? So I'm thinking when you play fives, obviously fives when you look like in the nick that I'm in, isn't the same as playing professional elite football. But see when you shank a shot or sky one that goes over the fence on fives, and everybody else takes the piss out of you for doing it. Do you ever do that when if somebody absolutely balloons a ball into the rose edge? Do you ever have a wee fucking word for them to say, "What was that?" Or
probably not in a game, but in training, if somebody shanks a ball or has an absolute nick, then yeah, we'll let them know. But at the same time in training, you get about 20, 30 shots, maybe more. So you're going to get a lot more opportunities to score. You're not going to get 30 shots in a game. I'd be very surprised if you did. So it just comes down to that one key moment where you have to make it count. Like yesterday, we had to, and we had numerous chances.
Darren Keenan says Murphy scores and Gogic goes with the runner instead of passing him on to Doig, who's already got a man. We win the game. Gogic isn't good enough. So I think we probably covered those points already. Parma Ham said our squad's too small. I think we've covered that. Jeff Ashton missing 5 regulars plus Alan, only fit enough for the bench, and we still should have won after a very shaky start. McGinn cleared off the pace as well due to illness. Chill everybody, go Toronto if we don't recruit before the window ends. I'm sure Jack will. I think that's fair. I think good points made there, and Jack's already said that he's looking at the recruit. I think that's it. The only other thing, Martin, that I had to mention, somebody contacted me on my personal Twitter to pass on a wee thank you to you. So the only down is on Twitter is St. Christopher. And he said, Matt, if I heard it right, you may have Boyle on the podcast next week. Martin and his family are a true class act. For all the jester persona he is, from my experience, just a top guy. Pre-lockdown, he shared an experience on .net. And he says he thinks he says it all. So I think I'm not sure if something happened with his wee boy. He says, anyway, if you get the chance, please pass on my eternal gratitude. And I think he got his son a ticket for a game or something like that, Martin, and went to look him out. So he'd asked me just to pass on his thanks for that as well, which was a really nice thing for you to do. So thank you on behalf of St. Christopher. I'm not sure if he is an actual bona fide saint. I mean, your luck's in if he is. Like, that's bound to be rewarded if you're into that kind of thing. We've got Livingston at the weekend, Martin. How do you see that one going?
Yeah, I can't wait. I'll say personally, feeling good. Hopefully, I have a few people back. Hopefully, I have boys not ill. But like you say, it's another opportunity for us at home in front of our crowd, and another one for us to hopefully get 3 points and continue our strong start of the season.
Colin, what's your prediction for Saturday?
Well, I'm hoping we can get a win. I'm looking forward to going back. First time in the new seats in the West Upper tomorrow. I had the seat for 18 months. I've no sat in it yet, so looking forward to that. So Martin, West Upper seat near the 18-yard box at the away end. If you score, guess a wee wave. But aye, that's the. Hopefully we'll get a wee win there. I mean, they've not started very well. I don't think they've lost all 3, which isn't always a good thing. But hopefully we can get another win on Saturday.
I fancy it. Like he says, be back in the seats. Really missed it. Went to the European games and we were kind of close, but it's not the same when you're in your own seat. So I can't wait to get back to totally itching for it. And we'll make a wee trip up to Alan's Bakery in Wrestlering as well. They're doing these kebab pies that we talked about on the podcast last Thursday, and we made some. So I'm going to get myself a couple of them before the game. Much needed. Martin, thanks very much for taking the time to come on. It's been brand new. We wish you obviously all the best for the rest of the season and with Australia as well, which we thought you might have sounded more Australian than you did. If I'm honest, you
I hear
could at
that.
least,
Don't
you could
worry,
at
I
least
hear that a lot.
pretended that to have the accent. But best luck. We hope you carry on in the form that you've been in. You've been absolutely, obviously song the star man. And it's been great watching you. And so, like somebody tweeted in last week or the week before, so when Martin Boyle plays, Hibs play. So no pressure. Just keep up. Thanks very much for coming on. Thanks everybody for tuning in and listening. We'll be back on Thursday with short bangers, so get your questions in for that. And then we'll be back with quick bang on Sunday after the Livingston game. Until then, take care and we'll see you next time.
County line, I pledged upon. Well, they trailed me down when I broke free. I drank all the whiskey in Tennessee.